All right, GCSEs, Shakespeare. Can feel like a total headache, right? Especially his comedies. Well, today we're going to tackle Twelfth Night. We're going to completely untangle all that chaos from the plot to the big themes you absolutely need to know for your exams. Ready? Let's get into it. So here's the big question, right? How on earth do you get from a simple case of mistaken identity to 3 weddings and a promise of revenge? It's wild. Twelfth Night is definitely a comedy, but man, it walks this really fine line between what's funny and what's actually kind of cruel. So how does Shakespeare pull it all together? That's exactly what we're going to figure out. Okay, here's how we're going to do this. We'll start with a shipwreck and the secret that kicks everything off. Then we'll follow the chaos in Illyria. After that, the big reveal, the unmasking. Once we've got the plot down, we'll dig into the themes. And finally, I'll give you some killer tips on how to ace your essay. Simple as that. All right, Section 1, Shipwreck and a Secret. This is the moment, the spark that lights the whole fuse. It all starts with a huge shipwreck that leaves our hero totally stranded and forces her to make a massive decision. So meet Viola. She is honestly so smart. She survives the shipwreck, washes up in a strange land called Illyria, and she's all alone. To make things worse, she thinks her twin brother Sebastian has drowned. Now you've got to remember, for a woman on her own back then, this was seriously dangerous. So what does she do? She comes up with a brilliant plan. She disguises herself as a man, calls herself Cesario, and manages to get a job working for the local duke, Orsino. And it's this one single decision that just unleashes all the chaos. Okay, on to part 2. Illyria in chaos. So Viola's disguise, it's like a spark that's just landed on a pile of dry leaves. It doesn't just cause one problem. Oh no, it sets off 2 completely separate, super tangled storylines. A crazy love triangle and a prank that gets, well, it gets way out of hand. So here's the main romantic plot, and it is a total mess. You've got Duke Orsino, who's completely obsessed with Countess Olivia. He hires Cesario, that's Viola in disguise, remember, to go and tell Olivia how much he loves her. But here's the twist. Olivia wants nothing to do with the Duke, but she takes one look at his messenger, Cesario, and is instantly smitten. And the biggest kicker of all, Viola, our Cesario, is secretly falling in love with her boss, Duke Orsino. It's this perfect, agonizing knot of who loves who. And Shakespeare is so clever here, because he gives us 2 totally different types of love to compare. On one hand, you have Viola's love, which is completely selfless, right? She's literally trying to set up the man she loves with another woman, all while she's hurting inside. And then you have the subplot with this guy Malvolio. He's Olivia's steward, and his love is, well, it's not love at all. It's pure self-love. He just wants to marry Olivia to climb the social ladder and get some power. Complete opposite.
You know who sees right through him? His own boss, Olivia. She just hits the nail on the head early on with this amazing quote. She basically says he's sick with self-love, that he's so obsessed with himself he can't see straight. He's not seeing reality, he's just seeing what he wants to see. And a flaw that big, well, it just makes him the absolute perfect target for a practical joke.
And so the prank begins. A couple of the other servants, Maria and Sir Toby Belch, decide they've had enough of Malvolio. They think he's a total killjoy, way too strict, so they decide to teach him a lesson. Maria writes a fake love letter pretending it's from Olivia. Malvolio finds it and just completely buys it. The letter tells him to do all these ridiculous stuff to prove his love, including wearing these bright yellow stockings. He does it, of course, and when Olivia sees him acting so strangely, she's convinced he's gone mad and has him locked up.
Okay, Section 3, the Great Unmasking. This is it. The climax. All of the chaos, all the mistaken identities, the love triangles, everything is about to explode. This is where all those tangled threads finally get straightened out.
And just when you think things couldn't possibly get more confusing, Shakespeare's like, hold my beer. He throws in the ultimate plot twist. Remember Sebastian, Viola's twin brother, the one she thinks is dead? Well, he's not. He's alive, and he's just arrived in Illyria. And, of course, he looks exactly like Viola when she's dressed as Cesario. This is where the chaos just goes nuclear. The results are pure chaos, instantly. People who have a fight to pick with Sebastian start attacking Viola. Meanwhile, people who are in love with Cesario are throwing themselves at Sebastian. It all reaches a peak when Olivia bumps into Sebastian, assumes he's Cesario, and proposes to him right there. And Sebastian, he has no idea what's going on, but, A beautiful, rich countess wants to marry him, so he just rolls with it and says yes. So, how do you possibly fix this complete and utter mess? Well, this is a Shakespearean comedy, after all. The answer is simple: marriage. Lots of it. Viola and Sebastian finally end up in the same room, everyone sees double, and the whole truth comes tumbling out, and all that confusion gets neatly wrapped up with, yep, 3 weddings. And here they are, our happy couples. Orsino finds out Cesario is actually a woman named Viola, and he's thrilled. He proposes. Olivia? She's pretty happy to discover she's married to Sebastian. And even the 2 troublemakers, Sir Toby and Maria, tie the knot. It's that classic comedy ending where marriage is supposed to make everything right again. But, spoiler alert, it's not a happy ending for everyone. Right, section 4. We've got the plot down, now for the really important stuff. The stuff that's going to get you those top marks in your exam. The themes. This is all about the why. Why did Shakespeare write this? What big ideas is he playing with? Seriously, this little grid is going to be your new best friend for revision. It connects the play's 3 huge themes. We're talking love, appearance versus reality, and gender, with the characters who really represent them, and it gives you a crucial quote for each one. You've got all the different kinds of love, from true love to self-love. You've got the whole what you see is not what you get idea. And you have this really mind-bending exploration of gender roles. Okay, let's look at this quote because it is brilliant. Orsino says this to Cesario, telling him he has a very feminine look, and he has no clue he's actually talking to a woman. There's also this little hint of attraction between Orsino and Cesario the man, which makes it feel totally natural when he falls for Viola the woman. But for the audience back then, the joke was even better. They were watching a boy actor playing a girl who was pretending to be a boy. Talk about layers. Shakespeare's basically having a ton of fun here, poking at the question of what gender even is. Is it real, or is it just a part we play? And here we are, the final section. How to ace your essay. Because look, it's one thing to know the play, but it's another thing entirely to write a brilliant essay about it when the clock is ticking. So let's get into some tips and tricks from the examiners. Okay, pro tip right here. You do not need to memorize pages and pages of quotes. Examiners actually love something called a textual reference. All that means is just accurately describing a specific bit of the play. So instead of a direct quote, you could say something like, "We see Malvolio's arrogance when he's daydreaming about being a count and forcing Sir Toby to bow to him." That kind of detail shows the examiner you know the play inside out, without the stress of remembering the exact words. And for your essay structure, keep it simple, but make it strong. Here's a great framework. Pick a theme, let's say appearance versus reality. Your first point, how it shows up at the start of the play. Easy, Viola's disguise. Then, for your middle paragraphs, talk about how that theme develops. So you talk about the love triangle, the Malvolio prank, and finally, your conclusion. How is it all resolved at the end? The great unmasking. Following that beginning, middle, end structure proves you understand how the theme works across the entire play. But we have to talk about that ending again, because it's not all sunshine and weddings. Remember Malvolio. After being totally humiliated and locked away, they finally let him out. And is he ready to forgive and forget? No way. He storms off stage shouting this line, promising to get his revenge on every single one of them. It's literally the last thing we hear from him, and it just leaves this really bitter, uncomfortable feeling at the end of a happy play. Which brings us to a fantastic question to leave you with. The kind of question that gets top marks. With Malvolio screaming for revenge, and get this, Viola says nothing for the rest of the play after she's revealed as a woman. How happy is this ending, really? Think about that. Why is she silent? Did she lose her voice once she lost her disguise? Digging into messy questions like that one, that's how you show an examiner you're not just reading the play, you're thinking about it. And there you have it. That's Twelfth Night, broken down from the shipwreck all the way to the love triangles, the cruel pranks, and yes, the yellow stockings. Hopefully this helps you untangle all that chaos so you can walk into your exam feeling totally prepared. Thanks for tuning in.